Hello, and welcome to the recap for which episode? Slovenia. It's so amazing that we get to be part of Amazing Race history, and I have to admit, I'm so happy because I've been looking forward to this episode airing. This is one of my favorite legs so far, and Slovenia is probably in my top 3 favorite countries that I've ever visited. I love it and want to go back. This is a big leg, so we'll just jump right in because we want to, be mindful of time. A lot of people tell you, if you go on the race, read your clue. I made a mistake this morning, and I read the clue, and I skip part of it and just want to start going to the parking garage. So I ask someone for directions, ask them on how we can get to the parking garage, and he stops me and goes, wait a second, right here's the travel agency. I was like, what? Look at the clue. Oh man. Good thing we've got a rule that both of us read the clue in its entirety, because I totally missed the part about the travel agency, and luckily he pulled us the right direction. So we head into the travel agency, get our tickets. But one thing to note, when we were heading to the parking garage, we saw Morgan and Lena. I don't think we ever told them, but we hid from them because we didn't want them to ask us for directions. So we kind of snuck around them a little bit. So then we get in the car and we take off. We get to the airport and see Todd and Ashley were there at the same time. So we're happy that we made up some time. We didn't see Robin and Chelsea, so we go ahead and try to get on standby for the next flight. We run up to the desk, but they tell us that we had to check in on a kiosk. So then we're struggling to get that to work, and we're basically racing Todd and Ashley, and the pressure is on because they're at the same place. We run and we get through security, and we ask to get put on standby. And when we got to that gate, luckily we stand right in front of the desk and we're like, nope, we're here first. But at the desk, they thought that we were in a group with Todd and Ashley. But luckily we started to talk about it, and then luckily we found out that there was a connecting flight that was going to get on this flight, but it was late, so it wasn't going to make it, and they let us know that there were 9 available seats, I believe. So luckily, we all were able to get on it, which was a relief, and we didn't need to argue about who was going to get on the flight. And on the plane, we were talking with Greg and John, and they did a ton of research on the train because they had a little more time than us in the airport. So we kind of all agreed that 3 teams working together was going to be better than 1. So we decided that we'd work together. And John and I both have a ton of experience with trains in Europe. So we talked about the strategy, and Todd and Ashley both lived in Europe. So among all of us, we had a pretty good amount of experience navigating. And so we worked together and found that there was a possible option for us to get an 8-hour lead. And it just so happened, for those of you that don't know Europe travel very well, it is famous for trains are on time. So we got there and ours was the only late train. Yep, the train kept stopping on the tracks. We don't really know why, but you see that we were discussing what to do. Luckily, there was a guy on the train next to us that worked for the train company, I believe Deutsche Bahn, and offered for us to use his laptop and do some research. And John and Greg were going at it. They were looked like they were trying to hack the computer, trying to look through all our different options. And there was a couple options that we could take a risk that the other train was behind and get on it. But like I said, that's so rare for 2 trains. Oh, hello, there's our dog. The other, option is if we don't get on that, we're going to get there either at the same time as the other group of people or like 20 minutes behind them. And we just figured it wasn't worth it. I don't want to have to race against Todd and Ashley and Greg and John for last. We keep landing at the top of the pack. So we have an opportunity to race with all of the teams. That just makes more sense to me. I'd rather take that risk. Then at the last second, they decided, you know what, you're right. It's probably not worth being the only team and taking that risk. They won, 2 legs in a row, so they probably knew that they can make up some good time if everyone gets bunched together again. And when we saw those teams, they were so excited to see us. It was pretty funny. We were chatting with them on the trains to Ljubljana, but just so you know, when it says sleeper train, it was just a regular train. We shared a room with us, Morgan, Lena, Steve, and Annalie. All of us in one room with 6 seats. And it was not comfortable, but we did enjoy hanging out and talking with them. I feel like we really made a good connection with each of them. And so really looking back, enjoyed that time, but we did not sleep very well. Yep. Anyways, we get to Ljubljana and we have to drive to the airfield. And it's interesting because I think we were one of the last few teams to leave the parking garage, but we had some pretty darn good directions. So we get there and we're in second place. We opened that clue and we knew, we were going to an airfield. So we figured it was going to be something pretty extreme, maybe skydiving, I don't know. But what's so funny to me is as soon as we saw the color red, we knew it was a roadblock, his hand shoots up. We did not discuss it at all. He just goes, I'm doing this roadblock. I'm glad that you did that task because I don't think I've ever read about NATO. I would not know what to do. Yeah, I didn't know you loved NATO so much, but I'm very glad that you do. So we leave and we're in first place. Unfortunately, we make a small mistake, have to turn around, get back on the freeway, finally figure out where we're going. And it is a beautiful drive. We get there and get our next clue and see there's an express pass this late in the game. Are you serious? We got to try and figure out if we can take advantage of this. We see there's another car here, so it's probably Todd and Ashley. We see the marked stairs and they're nowhere close. So I think, I have no idea what they're doing, but do you have 1,000 stairs in you? So we take off and we are running up these stairs. Yeah, I saw someone explain that the Empire State Building is about 1,500 stairs, so that climb was almost the height of the Empire State Building. Yeah, and I remember at one point we took a breather and I look back and Todd and Ashley start coming after us. So I say, we gotta go. And you were not happy. We start running up and then I say, okay, thank goodness they turned around. We can take another break. There's Greg and John. Oh no, we gotta book it. Looking back, honestly, I don't know if they could have, because at the beginning, it's pretty flat. You can run, but once you get a little bit higher, it turns vertical. So, you can't run up that. It's basically like you're climbing. So that part's where it gets tough. And we had probably like a 20-25 minute lead on them. So I don't know that they could have. It's possible that they would have caught up. Do you think we would have been willing to just grab the rails and tell them you can't pass us? Yeah, phew. Also, that's a huge bucket list item we can check. That zip line was amazing. So cool. And in that moment, when we got the express pass, I was on the moon. It's such a good feeling because honestly, at first, I was a little paranoid. What if all the other teams had caught up? We just spent all this time on the stairs. We might need to use it this leg just to get back in the game. I thought these teams would catch up, but I didn't realize that there were a couple other teams that had fallen so far behind. So I figured we just need to catch up, make a ton of time up, get through this leg and not use it. My goal is don't use an express pass until the very last moment you can use it. The goal is for it to be a safety net so you can survive through leg 10. That's our goal using this thing. Yep, we get through it pretty quick. Detour time. We rip open that clue. I'm allergic to hay. He's allergic to bees. I mean, you can't win. And yeah, I asked him, do you have the energy to do this? What do you want to do? I'm pretty athletic. I still have plenty of energy left. I'm willing to do all the hard work if you want to do the strategic planning. And we figure, yeah, let's do it. So we get there and we see that there's 3 other teams there. Okay, we do need to make up some time. And then Morgan and Lena show up and we're like, all right, that's it. We got to put on the gas. I realized, forget the tools at one point. Like the tools were just slowing us down. So we were just grabbing handfuls of hay and shoving them into the wall thing there. And we got going. Yep. And that drive, I remember all of a sudden my nose starts running. I start breaking out everywhere. My arms, my neck. I remember he looks up in the mirror. never. We're not pulling over. I do remember, though, the audio person with us looks over and he's like, are you okay? And I was like breathing weird, like, yeah, I'm totally good. And my dad, you go, are you okay? And I'm like struggling to breathe a little bit. I'm like, I'm totally fine. We're good. And it was just a quick little pit stop. We pull over quick. We keep going. We're heading to Ljubljana, and it's real easy to get to Ljubljana. But the problem was finding that parking garage. It was in the middle of downtown, surrounded by one-way roads. It was a little more complicated than we expected. Luckily, we stopped at a hotel, and we got a map. The map we used to get there, and I told him, no, this is the wrong parking garage. Let's keep going. Oh, man. That's my mistake. We lost probably at least 20 minutes driving around, looking for the right parking garage. And at one point I say, I'm lost. I need you to pull over. You've got to help me look at this map and figure it out. So we get out, we're looking at the map and figure out, okay, we need to go around here, this way. And then I keep marking off which road's closed, which one's a one-way. So we know which roads we can take. Eventually, we figure out, okay, no, this one's closed. We got to go around here. It took us a while. We finally get to where we need to go and realize it's the same parking garage. We lost probably, 25 minutes? And what we realized hurt is we got out, we're running over to the skyscraper, and we see Todd and Ashley and John and Greg running out of it as we're about to enter. And we were barely behind them. So, okay, fine. We got to get up and take more stairs. I was laughing so hard watching that part of the episode. That was amazing. Pit stop time. Oh, finally. I said, I don't know. I think it's probably better to be safe than sorry. The clue doesn't say no elevator, but I'm just paranoid. I've seen so many former episodes where people get penalized for not reading the clue correctly, making some sort of mistake. It's just not worth it to me. But now looking back, elevator, you're not driving into it, you're on foot, so it should be fine, but sorry. So we run, and luckily, because we had the map, we didn't need to stop and ask anyone for directions at any point. So we just keep running through the town, and it's easy. We had the Dragon Bridge on the map, so it was pretty easy to get there. And that took us maybe, 5 minutes, 10 minutes behind John and Greg. I mean, we realize we could have won that leg if we didn't make some of these mistakes with the Express Pass too. I mean, we keep getting so close to the top, but have not won a leg just because we keep making these little navigational errors. So we're like, all right, that's it. Tonight, we're going to discuss figuring out how to navigate correctly. Third place, we'll take it. And we have the Express Pass. I mean, come on. That's it. What a great leg.